Chairman, Ms. Abedin and Ms. Hanley indicated the whereabouts of Clinton devices would frequently become unknown once she transitioned to a new device. What about these other devices? Did you make any inquiry about any of the missing devices to make sure they were properly secured and the data properly recorded?
I can say with some certainty, whenever there was a transfer from one device to the next, there was always the goal and the process to transfer all the data from the previous device to the new device. You're specifically, I believe, asking about what happened to the devices that I know that I personally did not dispose of. I can't speak to that. I believe that, I may have asked those who were in the process of doing that for Secretary Clinton to also properly dispose of them by rendering them
So
usable.
you were responsible for setting up the servers and these devices? Is that?
Mr. Pagliano set up the Pagliano server. For someone to transfer to a new BlackBerry device, it simply requires someone to tell the server that there's a limited period of time for a user to log in with a one-time username and
But when you
password.
transitioned from one device to another, did you have any responsibility in handling the device that was no longer being used? What did you do with that? And we understand you did something with some devices.
On occasion, I was the person who made the transfer, and when I was complete with backing up the information, ensuring that it was on the new device, wiping the old device, I rendered them unusable in other manners, yes.
Are you aware that there's a missing laptop and external storage device?
I'm aware of that based on the reading of the FBI report.
So you did know about it. Do you know that the report was that it was lost in the mail?
That's as much as I know.
That's as much as you know. You don't know, do you know who mailed it?
I have no details about that.
So if you don't know who mailed it, you don't know who it was sent to. You are, as Mr. Heiss pointed out, aware that Director Comey described Mrs. Clinton's use of a personal server and her handling of classified material as extremely careless. You were aware that he said that. You read the FBI report.
Yes, I'm aware of the report.
In your handling of Mrs. Clinton's servers, did you have any concerns that her use of a personal server and the use of outdated technology on her cell phones might be a problem?
I viewed her use as personal use of a BlackBerry and of the server, and that we kept up to date over a period of time.
You've been around the Clintons for a pretty good period of time, haven't you?
Yes.
And you're aware of the highly sensitive material that Mrs. Clinton, as Secretary of State, was handling that would pass through her communications devices and her servers through her email. You certainly had to be aware that that there was sensitive information.
If I was generally aware that Secretary Clinton encountered sensitive information, sure. How that was transmitted to her was not something that I was specifically aware of.
I mean, this guy didn't, so, but on the other hand.
But in your disposal of these devices, and you said you made sure they were wiped, and you took other measures to dispose of them, did you receive any instructions or any training about making sure that the data on those systems were properly recorded? Did anyone talk to you about that?
I had no specific instructions around that.
Would you consider your handling of these devices as possibly careless? And I ask you that, and I think you've been a good witness. I appreciate the fact that you stayed. But in listening to Ms. Lummis' questions and your lack of knowledge of some of the cyber technology, the cyber protection technology and things like that, my concern is that it's almost an atmosphere of indifference. And I really hope that's not the case, because this is not, although some of our colleagues on the other side of the aisle try to make this about her candidacy. It's really about our national security and how we handle things going forward. And that's the great concern, I think, really the prevailing concern that this committee has, is that we make sure that that we don't put our national security at risk, we don't put our intelligence officers at risk. And that's my big concern, and particularly with this missing laptop that apparently no one's made an effort to recover. I thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Thank the gentleman. Now recognize the gentleman